What if Daenerys hadn't burned King's Landing? If she had become the queen of the Seven Kingdoms? The bell rings. The city has surrendered. Daenerys's army arrives at the castle. Cersei is sitting on the Iron Throne. Jaime pleads with her to surrender so they can spare her life. She, incapable of kneeling before Daenerys, refuses and is sentenced to be burned by the dragon. As she is led out of the castle, Daenerys screams, "Dracarys!" And just in that second, Jaime, unable to live without Cersei, jumps right to her side. The next day, the castle is prepared for the new queen's coronation. Everyone kneels before Daenerys. After so long, she finally sits on the Iron Throne. During her reign, the people still do not accept her as their queen. To them, she remains a usurper on the throne. Daenerys focuses on maintaining her reign, having made powerful enemies by freeing slaves. The people of King's Landing are not her priority, so she asks Jon to handle their needs. Jon listens to the people, helps them, and begins to win their affection and support. Thus begin the rumors that Jon would be a better king than the current queen. While Jon is in King's Landing, Sansa remains in charge of the north. The rumors that the people want Jon to be king quickly reach her. Tyrion, aware of the rumors, avoids telling Daenerys for fear of how she might react. But the secret that Jon is a Targaryen and the legitimate king soon spreads. Many lords begin demanding that Jon be the king of the Seven Kingdoms. It wasn't long before this news reached the queen, who felt betrayed by Jon and by her hand for concealing the information. Jon promised Daenerys he was not seeking to take her throne. Daenerys felt everyone was lying to her. She became paranoid, starting to see enemies everywhere. Her mental instability was quickly noticed by everyone, including her most loyal followers. Many feared her madness would consume her, leading her to become like the Mad King. One day, while in the city with Jon and his guards, she heard the commoners address Jon as, "My king," while no one addressed her. Later that day, Daenerys, consumed by the fear that Jon would take her throne, accused him of treason and sentenced him to be devoured by her dragon. Having Targaryen blood, Daenerys feared the dragon's flames would not burn him, but the dragon refused to obey Daenerys's order, as it sensed the Targaryen blood in him. The dragon picked up Jon and flew far away. The queen, helpless and feeling utterly betrayed, succumbed to madness. She ordered her soldiers to subdue the people for their betrayal. The Unsullied and the Dothraki patrolled the city, punishing all those who opposed the queen. Meanwhile, Jon reaches the north. News of his sentencing and Daenerys's reign of terror arrived before him. Sansa, Arya, and Bran, knowing everything that happened, prepared the north for battle. Jon still refuses to take the throne, but after hearing that the queen was spreading fear and seeing the support of many lords, he could not refuse. Daenerys's dragon disappears after dropping Jon, and no one knows where it went. Daenerys, consumed by madness, remains locked in the castle. Tyrion, fearing the queen's instability, tries to convince Grey Worm to stop carrying out her orders, as the Unsullied are terrifying the people. Grey Worm is uneasy with the queen's actions but feels unable to betray her, as she gave him his freedom. Tyrion discovers that Jon is alive and that the north has gathered a large army coming to end the queen's reign. Tyrion tries to convince Grey Worm that more lives shouldn't be lost. He tells him Daenerys is no longer fit to rule, that soon the Seven Kingdoms will realize this and turn against her, and that her reign must end. He concludes by saying Missandei, whom the queen cherished, would support this. She would understand that Daenerys did well and was a great person, but she is no longer the woman they knew. Grey Worm agrees. He knows the Unsullied will follow his orders, but he still needs to convince the Dothraki, the Second Sons, and the Iron Fleet to stand down. Tyrion clarifies that as long as Daenerys doesn't know the north is coming for her, she won't summon her banners. The queen remains locked in her castle. The only ones allowed near her are Tyrion and Grey Worm. Jon's army is close to King's Landing. While the queen is locked away, unaware of the north's advance, Tyrion asks Grey Worm to go to Jon and deliver the message: the queen's army will not fight. They understand she is unfit to rule, that her madness is consuming her, and that the inhabitants of King's Landing are suffering under her rule. They do not want another war for the throne. They do not want to fight, but they also do not want the queen to die. Their terms are simple: the army will not fight, provided Daenerys' life is spared. Tyrion urges Grey Worm to deliver this message to Jon as soon as possible, asking him not to bring his main army but to arrange this with words, not weapons. They promise Jon safe entry into the city and a clear path to the throne. Grey Worm takes a handful of his men and quickly departs. Meanwhile, Tyrion tries to persuade Daenerys that everything is fine, that the houses still consider her their queen, and that her harsh measures in King's Landing are correct. Tyrion is aware that she doesn't know the city's inhabitants consider her a tyrant, nor that some houses have withdrawn their support, nor that the North is coming for her. Fearing her reaction, he prefers to keep this information hidden. After all, she is still the queen and commands a powerful army, so it's best to keep her calm. Grey Worm meets Jon and delivers the message Tyrion sent. Arya tries to convince Jon it is a trap. Grey Worm clarifies, "I love my queen. Thanks to her, I became a free man. But I have seen the suffering she is causing the city's inhabitants. She is no longer the breaker of chains, now she is the one setting them. I do not want her to die, but she cannot continue to rule." Arya is still unconvinced, but Jon trusts the message. He decides to proceed, asking a small group of his men to accompany him. Arya joins them, and they set off for King's Landing. The city is in chaos. The Unsullied and Dothraki guard every exit. The inhabitants are trapped inside their own city, being punished by the Queen's orders. The Queen, sitting on the Iron Throne with her hand, is interrupted when a group of Dothraki enters the throne room and informs her that a massive army, led by Jon, is approaching the city. The astonished queen asks Tyrion how an army could be so close without him informing her. Tyrion tries to convince her he had no idea, but she doesn't believe him. She confronts him, accuses him of treason, and arrests him. The queen orders everyone to prepare for battle. An Unsullied informs the queen that Jon is at the main gate of the city with a small group of men. Daenerys, along with the Dothraki and Unsullied, heads to the main entrance. Her astonishment at seeing Grey Worm alongside Jon finally breaks her. Angrily, she calls him a traitor. "After I freed you, you chose to betray me. Missandei would be disappointed in you." Daenerys yells at Grey Worm. He responds, "Missandei would be proud of me. She loved her queen, the breaker of chains, the queen who liberated cities from those very tyrants. But you are no longer that queen. You have the city subdued. You fought the worst tyrants to free slaves, and now you have become one of them." Arya tries to warn Jon that this was a bad idea, as he only has a small group of men while the queen has an entire army. Jon tries to reason with Daenerys, but she is completely broken and listens to no one. Grey Worm addresses the Unsullied. He reminds them of their fight to liberate cities and slaves, always accompanying their queen. He understands their loyalty to her but reminds them that they are no longer freeing cities but subjecting one to fear. "We are no longer the liberators, we are the oppressors. I do not ask you to betray your queen, only to understand that she is no longer the queen we knew." Jon adds that no one will harm Daenerys, they only want her to free King's Landing, to desist and understand what she achieved. She was a woman who had nothing, who was sold to a call by her own brother, and who gained one of the most powerful armies, 3 dragons, dominating the seas, the sky, and the land until she claimed the Iron Throne, and it is time for her to let it go. He asks everyone to desist from a battle, as it will only bring more war and death. After a moment of silence, the Unsullied step back. The Dothraki remain firm alongside their Khaleesi, so she shouts at them, "Kill them all." A small battle breaks out between the Unsullied and the Dothraki, which Jon's group joins. It is quickly halted when Daenerys screams for everyone to stop, as Arya has reached her with a dagger at her throat. Arya demands her surrender, but the queen refuses. Jon pleads with Arya not to kill her. Arya refuses, saying that the queen has become Cersei, and it is better to end her so history does not repeat itself. While all eyes are on Arya and Daenerys, a loud roar is heard from the skies. It is Drogon. He lands in front of Daenerys and Arya. Everyone steps back, but Arya remains still, unwilling to release Daenerys. But Daenerys, overcome by madness and desperation, screams, "Dracarys," at Drogon, intending to burn Arya. He raises his head and blasts his fire into the air instead. Drogon lets out a fierce roar at Arya, and she retreats, releasing Daenerys. Drogon takes his mother and flies away. Drogon carries the queen away. Silence falls over everyone. The Dothraki, without their Khaleesi, lower their weapons before Grey Worm and Jon. Daenerys's reign is over. Tyrion Lannister, along with many others, is released from the dungeons. Tyrion remains in charge of the realm while the arrival of all the lords is awaited. Finally, the Great Council convenes. Among them is Bran, as the three-eyed raven. His role in the council is important. After deliberation, the decision is unanimous. Jon Snow, now known as Aegon Targaryen, would be crowned king of the 6 kingdoms. Sansa Stark would remain the independent queen of the North. No one ever saw Daenerys Targaryen or her last dragon again. Jon, unable to find peace without knowing Daenerys's fate, asks Bran to see and tell him if she is well. Bran looks at him and smiles. She is very far from here, in a place where she is queen of nothing, being cared for by the last great dragon. And finally, Jon sits on the Iron Throne. He looks at it with weariness. He has won the crown he never wanted, at the cost of sacrificing the woman he loved. Alternate fate or perfect ending? You tell me. If you want to see more unexpected twists, hit subscribe and we'll see you in the next story from the What If.